You've probably heard the term, an elephant never forgets, which is not necessarily true, however, there is some truth behind the saying. Elephants are incredibly intelligent creatures with the complexity to remember dead loved ones that they've lost, mimic sounds they've heard before, and teach each other how to survive in the wild. However, there is a large injustice happening in the world where elephants are being used for shows of entertainment for people in places like Thailand, where elephant shows are a very hot commodity, as well as in the circus where they perform. Now, we've all been to the circus before and have been dazzled by the amazing size of these creatures and how they can paint or dance across the stage. However, we need to take a look behind the curtain and recognize the injustice of subjecting these elephants to the psychological and physical treatment that they are being put through. I've done extensive research on this to inform you as to why you shouldn't support this franchise, and hopefully I can persuade you to not support elephant shows in any place in the world. Elephants are used as tourist attractions at the expense of their very well-being. They are highly intelligent creatures. According to Amelia Meyer in Elephant Forever, their brains are the largest of any land mammal in the world, maxing out at 11 pounds, and their neocortex is very complex compared to humans, or similar to humans and dolphins. Meyer says elephants are not born with survival instincts. They're actually taught from their herd how to survive in the wild, which makes the herd even closer, and they're a very family dynamic. Dances and actions the elephants are forced to do are in no way natural. Amina writes in, "This is how baby elephants are trained for the circus, that young elephants are taken away from their herd younger than 10, which is typically the age that an elephant becomes independent and learns how to live on their own. So they are being taught how to dance or how to become docile before they are even learning basic survival rules for living. Trainers in camps will take bull hooks and press it behind the baby elephant's ears or their ankles, as well as take rope and tie the elephants up into unnatural positions for dancing. This is called the physical abuse, the sleep deprivation, the lack of feeding on these young elephants is known as the training crush, typically used in Thailand. They are subjected to terrible living conditions, those of which there are no regulation standards for. Lowe confirms the Draught Animal Act only defines the rights and ownership requirements. Domesticated elephants are allowed to be treated as private property with no particular provisions for animal welfare or protections under the Draught Animal Act. Schmidt, in the Elephant Business and Tourism Industry, conducted a study on the welfare of 106 different camps in Thailand for elephants, which proved that there is no veterinary care, there is a lack of proper hygiene, and that these elephants are being left outside when they're not performing, standing on hard concrete, being chained to posts so they cannot move anywhere. And the hard concrete is actually creating much worse health conditions for their future because it wears the soles of their feet down over time. You can help support ethical elephant tourism and spread the word that elephant riding in shows cause unnecessary harm to the elephants. Understand the difference between sanctuaries and rehabilitation centers compared to the profit that the organizations make off of the abuse of these animals. Club R, a writer for pro-life, recommends visiting parks with group living. Group living ensures that these elephants are socialized, and also visiting parks that don't use breeding or don't have direct contact with tourists, because when there is direct contact with tourists, it usually is proof that these elephants have been trained to be more docile around people. Animal-based attractions heavily depend on paying visitors to offset their operation costs as well as to finance the education and conservation programs. So you have the power in numbers and how much money each different corporation is getting. So when you're giving your money to a facility that is abusing these animals, they have the power to continue to abuse these animals, which in comparison to maybe a rehabilitation center, if you're giving your money to them, then they will be able to continue to conserve these creatures. Just do what you can to spread the word. You can march, petition, and lobby, whatever you can to let people know about the injustice for these animals. We can visualize the possible outcomes of continuing to let the injustice plague the natural world for Asian elephants in contrast with not buying into this market. So the number of elephants is decreasing very rapidly, and possibly within the next 10 years they will be completely extinct from Thailand. This is happening due to, as we've discussed, continuing to stay silent and not spreading the word, as well as giving money to organizations that are lying and saying that the animals are being taken care of. You can do your part to try and end the harsh cycle of abuse by research the standards for the organization that you might be visiting, donating to nonprofits when you can, and telling others to not make the mistakes of the false advertisement that certain locations will use to convince people that they are treating the elephants fairly. There is no easy way out for these magnificent creatures. They have been put to work for human interest for decades. That does not mean it has to continue on forever. Before visiting a circus or traveling, considering where these elephants came from, how they are being treated, and how you can support proper facilities that are meant to take care or rehabilitate the elephants. Thank you.